On the distant frontier world named Erythra, the land was red like rust and the sky held two suns. The colony was small, made mostly of metal buildings placed on dusty plains. Every day the settlers struggled to grow food, gather water, and keep their machines working. Life here was hard, but humans had survived harsh worlds before. They were known to be stubborn, hopeful, and driven by memories, especially memories of kindness. Among the settlers was Captain Celine Arden, a calm and strong woman with clear eyes and a thoughtful mind. She had served in the Interstellar Navy before coming to Erythra, but now she worked as the colony's main diplomat. She spent her days talking to merchant ships, trade groups, and different alien visitors who came to the colony's landing station. Celine remembered everything, every lesson, every friend, every moment someone had helped her, small or big. It was a habit many humans shared. They never forgot favors. Some called it loyalty. Others called it a kind of quiet power. One afternoon, a light transport ship came down through the dusty sky, its engines humming softly. The colony guards gathered, unsure if the visitor would be friendly or not. But the moment Celine saw the symbol on its side, her face softened. She remembered it well. It was the trademark of Thalos, an alien merchant from a species called the Varan. The Varan had tall, slender bodies, smooth blue skin, and gentle voices. They were known as traders who preferred peace over conflict. Years ago, when Celine was younger and piloting a small ship through dangerous space, it was Thalos who had helped her when her ship's engines failed near an asteroid belt. Without his help, she would not have survived. She had promised him back then, "If you ever need something, I will remember this day." And she did. The ship landed, and the airlock door opened. Thalos walked down the ramp slowly. His eyes looked tired and his clothing was worn. Celine stepped forward and greeted him with respect. "Thalos," she said softly, "you came a long way to reach Erythra." Thalos lowered his head, the Varan sign of greeting. "Captain Arden, I had nowhere else to go. My trade route has failed. My crew is gone. I need help." Celine did not hesitate. "Then you will have help. You saved my life once." "I remember." The colony guards watched in silence. Many of them did not understand why Celine would trust an alien who had arrived without warning. But Celine knew. She knew what gratitude meant. She led Thalos to the colony center where the council gathered. The council consisted of workers, engineers, and scientists who guided the colony's daily operations. They studied Thalos with curious eyes. Thalos explained his situation. A group of raider ships had blocked the trade routes he used to travel. Many merchants were being forced to pay heavy prices just to pass. Those who refused, like Thalos, lost ships, goods, and even friends. He had escaped only by luck. The council members looked at one another. Helping Thalos would cost them resources. The colony needed those resources themselves. Every drop of fuel, every crate of supplies mattered. But Celine spoke gently, clearly, and with purpose. "This colony exists because others helped us once," she said. "We are alive because of favors, kindness, and trust. If we forget that, we forget who we are. Thalos saved my life. Now we return what was given." After a long silence, the council agreed. Not because they trusted Thalos, but because they trusted Celine, and the human belief that kindness was never forgotten. The next day, Celine arranged a supply package for Thalos: food, energy cells, and navigation assistance. But her help did not stop there. She also contacted nearby human fleets requesting safe passage for Thalos along the star routes. She sent official messages to other colonies and stations, asking them to welcome him as a friend. She worked for many hours, building a chain of support. Thalos watched her work in quiet amazement. To him, the help seemed greater than the original favor he once gave. "I only fixed your ship engine once," he said. "But you helped me across the stars." Celine smiled softly. "Humans do not forget kindness. When someone helps us, we return it with our whole heart. That is our way." Meanwhile, word began to spread. Aliens at nearby stations began to whisper about the humans of Erythra. They learned that humans held memories of every favor, every gift, every good action shown to them. Even small gestures could return to you in grand and surprising ways. Some aliens saw this as beautiful. Others saw it as frightening. In distant corners of the galaxy, leaders of other species gathered. They discussed quietly the nature of humanity. Some said humans are loyal. If you help one human, you help all of them. Others warned, be careful. If you harm one human, they will remember that too. Back on Erythra, life went on, but something new was happening. Many merchants began visiting the colony. Some came hoping for trade. Some came out of curiosity. Some came to test whether the stories were true. One merchant helped a group of settlers repair a water pump. A year later, those settlers built a shelter for his crew when they were caught in a sandstorm. Another merchant taught a group of children music. Months later, the colony sent him rare minerals to support his business. These exchanges were small but meaningful. A network of trust began to grow from Erythra, like branches from a tree, reaching far beyond the dusty red horizon. Selene saw it happen and understood its importance. She could see the future forming, quietly, like seeds planted beneath the soil. Humans did not need powerful fleets or large armies to influence the galaxy. Their strength came from memory and gratitude. It came from loyalty and promises. It came from the way they honored every act of kindness. Meanwhile, Thalos prepared to leave. His ship was repaired, his supplies secured, and safe travel routes confirmed. When he stood at the ramp of his ship once more, he did not look tired anymore. His eyes now held hope. "I will tell others about this colony," he promised. "About how humans repay kindness. About how gratitude can change lives." Selene nodded. "Tell them the truth. Nothing more, nothing less. And remember that you have a friend on Erythra, a place to return to." With a final quiet gesture, Thalos departed. The engines lifted his ship into the sky, and soon it disappeared beyond the twin suns. The colony returned to its daily work. But everyone felt that something had changed. A new idea had awakened. A belief that small actions could echo far away, across stars, across worlds, across civilizations. What they did not yet know was that this idea would grow much bigger. It would travel farther than they imagined, and it would return to them in ways they could never predict, because humans remember every favor, and one day the galaxy would come to learn what that truly meant. Months passed after Thalos left Erythra. The colony continued to grow slowly, but something subtle had changed. New trade ships now visited the dusty settlement more often. Some brought supplies to sell. Others came only to speak with Captain Selene Arden, hoping to understand the humans' unusual way of remembering kindness. The colony had gained a quiet reputation. It was no longer seen simply as a struggling outpost. It was known as a place where trust mattered, where loyalty held value, and where even the smallest good act could return to you in great strength. Meanwhile, in another part of the galaxy, a place very different from Erythra was facing its own struggle. It was the world of GalacticPrime, a planet filled with rolling silver grasslands and shining crystal towers. The Zirans were a peaceful people, gentle in nature and curious about knowledge. They rarely fought, preferring to study science, art, and history. Among them lived a human historian named Dr. Kale Rivas. Kale had come to GalacticPrime many years ago as a young researcher. He had admired the Zirans' calm way of life. He studied their culture, their language, and their customs with deep respect. In particular, he became close friends with a Ziran scientist named Luro. Luro was quiet, thoughtful, and always patient. There had been a time when Kale fell ill from an unknown disease while traveling across the plains. Many believed he would not survive. But Luro had stayed by his side day and night, searching for herbs and remedies, refusing to give up hope. Kale owed his life to Luro's kindness, and like all humans, he never forgot. Now GalacticPrime was in danger. A group of raider fleets called the Skarn Collective moved across nearby space. They were known for forcing small worlds into unfair trade agreements. If the planet refused, the raiders would take resources by force. This time, the Skarn ships had set their eyes on GalacticPrime. The Zarans tried peaceful negotiations, but the raiders did not respect peace. They saw the Zirans' gentle nature as weakness. News of the danger spread quickly through the scientific centers and cities. People gathered in public halls, speaking with quiet fear. The Zirans did not have strong weapons or warships. They believed in peace, but peace alone could not stop approaching fleets. Kale watched the worry grow across the planet. He remembered Luro's kindness. He remembered how this world had treated him as one of their own. And he knew exactly what needed to be done. He activated a communicator and sent a message into space, to Selene Arden on Erythra. When Selene received the message, she was standing in the colony's command room, reviewing supply reports. She read Kale's words carefully. GalacticPrime is under threat. peaceful people. They helped me once. I will not forget. I am asking for help. Selene did not hesitate. She knew Kale well from past academy days. He was a calm thinker, not someone who made requests easily. When he asked for help, it meant the situation was serious. She replied simply, "We remember. We will answer." Selene began making calls to nearby human colonies, stations, and fleets. But she did not ask for soldiers or attacks. Instead, she asked for support. She asked for volunteers, for pilots willing to escort GalacticPrime's trade ships, for technicians willing to strengthen the planet's shield systems, for diplomats willing to speak on their behalf. The response was stronger than she expected. One pilot said, "A Zeran traveler once shared food with me when my ship crashed. I will help." Another said, "Their culture once taught my daughter music. I will go." Humans who had been helped by Zerans long ago now prepared to repay that kindness. Their memories were long. Their hearts were steady. Soon a convoy of human ships gathered in space. Not a war fleet, but a protective escort. They traveled across star routes until the shimmering world of GalacticPrime appeared in front of them. When the convoy arrived, the Zerans were surprised. They had not asked for help from other worlds. They did not believe their kindness was remembered beyond their borders. But Kale knew better. When the Skarn raiders approached, expecting an easy victory, they found human ships already present, standing in silent formation above the planet. The raiders opened communication channels. "You do not belong here," their leader said. "This world is under our claim." Selene, who had personally traveled with the fleet, appeared on the communication screen. "This world has friends," she said calmly. "Friends who remember everything. We are not here for war, but we will not allow harm." The raiders laughed at first. Humans were smaller in number. Their fleet was not a war fleet, but the raiders did not understand the humans' true strength. They did not understand loyalty. More ships began to arrive. A group of traders who once found shelter on GalacticPrime. A group of explorers who once learned healing techniques from Zeran scholars. Even a few alien groups who respected the Zerans joined in. The raiders soon realized they were outnumbered not by weapons, but by gratitude. They withdrew, not because of fear of battle, but because they saw there was no advantage to be gained. This world was protected by bonds stronger than their threats. After the fleet left, celebrations spread across GalacticPrime. The Zerans thanked the humans, but the humans simply replied, "We are only returning what was once given to us." Kyle and Luro stood together on a balcony overlooking the silver plains. Luro looked at the human beside him. "You came because of me," Luro said. "Because of something I did years ago." Kale nodded. "You saved my life. I could not forget." Humans do not forget kindness. We repay it in full. Luro smiled softly, touched and surprised. "I never expected anything in return." "That is why it mattered," Kyle replied. Meanwhile, in distant regions of the galaxy, observers began to speak more seriously about humans. Some admired them. If you show kindness to a human, you gain a loyal friend forever. Others spoke with caution. If you harm a human, be warned. They remember that too. Back on Erythra, Selene looked at the star map in her office. More requests for alliance, friendship, and trade had begun appearing. The chain of gratitude was growing, like threads connecting world to world. She knew this was only the beginning. For kindness was like a seed thrown into space. Small, simple, quiet. But once it took root, it could grow into something vast and powerful. And the galaxy had only just begun to witness what humans could become when they remembered. The stars were calm, but beneath that calm, the galaxy was changing. The idea of human gratitude had begun to move from world to world like a whisper. It traveled through trade stations, traveler inns, research hubs, and market docks. Many species heard these stories and reacted in different ways. Some felt respect, some felt curiosity, and some felt fear. They could not understand how remembering a favor could turn into such strong alliances. To them, a small kindness was just a moment that passed, but to humans it was a promise that lived inside the heart. On Erythra, Captain Selene Ardun began noticing these changes. More messages arrived every day, some from friendly worlds offering trade, others from nervous governments asking questions about human behavior. One message came from a distant colony called Haven Reach. It was a small, human-led settlement near the border of several alien territories. The government there asked Selene for advice. We heard that humans are repaying old favors across the stars. How do we know which debts to follow, which promises to keep? Selene thought carefully before replying. Gratitude is not a list. It is a memory of kindness. If the act was honest, we honor it. If it had meaning, we return it. Let the heart guide the action. Meanwhile, Dr. Kale Rivas remained on Zereth Prime. The Zeran people continued their peaceful work, but now they did so with a new confidence. Their planet was no longer vulnerable, but Kale noticed something else stirring. Different alien groups began arriving at Zereth Prime too. Representatives, learners, travelers. They wanted to understand what humans had done and how. In the Great Hall of Thought, scholars discussed the event. Some said, these humans are dangerous. Their loyalty binds worlds together. It cannot be controlled. Others said, no, it is not dangerous. It is simply powerful. A power that comes from kindness, not weapons. Kyle listened and remained calm. He did not argue. He simply observed. But far away, not everyone looked at this growing unity with calm eyes. In the region of space known as the Crest Rift, there lived a proud species called the Ravenar Collective. The Ravenar valued strength, order, and control. To them, alliances built from kindness appeared unpredictable and therefore threatening. Their council leaders spoke about the humans. They change the balance between worlds. They shift power without battles or treaties. If this continues, no one will be able to predict which worlds will support them. This is unstable. One Ravenar leader suggested watching quietly. Another suggested making alliances with others first. But a third said something that caught everyone's attention. We must test the humans. We must see how far their gratitude reaches. If it is truly strong, we should prepare to respect it. If it is weak, we should ensure it does not grow. So the Ravenar began to observe carefully. They did not attack. They did not speak loudly. They simply watched. As the galaxy shifted, smaller events also began to unfold. On a simple farming moon called Pelora, a human engineer named Leon remembered how a small alien family had once given him shelter during a storm. Years later, when their farming machines broke, Leon traveled across systems just to repair them. News of this act spread, inspiring others on both sides. On a research station orbiting a blue gas giant, students from different species began exchanging lessons in music, languages, and stories. They said, if humans give so much value to kindness, maybe we should too. Selene heard about these events and felt both pride and caution. Gratitude was powerful, but power always attracted misunderstanding. One morning, Selene sat at her desk reading new reports. A message arrived from a station called Sillenport, located between several trade lanes. The message came from the station administrator, a gentle alien named Maeli, who had once helped humans 2 decades ago. Maeli wrote, I did once share food and shelter with a group of human travelers long ago. I do not ask for anything now, but I wish to understand why your people remember so deeply. Selene answered with honesty, we remember because kindness gives life meaning. When someone helps us, they become part of our story. We do not forget our story. Maeli sent a quiet reply, then your story is growing. And it was. However, not all stories were peaceful. While many worlds bonded in friendship, misunderstandings began to spread as well. On one world, a group of merchants thought humans were returning favors to gain influence and power. They began to speak cautiously to others. Be careful. Humans do not forget. If you owe them something, they will come back someday. Their words were not meant to be harmful, but they caused worry. Some species felt uncertain now. They wondered if offering kindness to humans came with expectations. Selene heard of these worries and realized something important. The galaxy was beginning to fear the unknown part of human gratitude, not the kindness itself, but the unknown scale of its return. Meanwhile, Kale noticed the same concern rising on Zereth Prime. He sat with Luro one evening beside a quiet pool of reflecting water. The sky was soft blue and gentle insects glowed in the air like floating sparks. Luro asked softly, Kyle, do you think your people's way of remembering could cause others to fear you? Kale thought for a long moment. Fear comes when something cannot be predicted. When someone does not understand us, we must show them that our gratitude comes from peace. Not from control. Luro nodded slowly. Then the galaxy must learn your meaning of gratitude, not just its effect. But before Kale could reply, another message reached him. It came from a traveler ship captain. The message said, "There are worlds now asking humans for help, not out of friendship but out of hope that a favor will be owed in return. Some do not understand. Some want power through borrowed loyalty." This worried Kale deeply. Gratitude was meant to be natural, not forced. Kindness meant nothing if it was done for gain. Kale sent a message to Selena. Together they discussed what needed to happen. Humans had to show the galaxy what gratitude truly meant. Not a trade. Not a debt. Not a tool. But a connection of hearts. Selene suggested holding a gathering, a meeting of different species who valued peace. A place to explain human ways clearly, with honesty, not influence, Kale agreed. GalacticPrime was chosen as the host world, as it had become a symbol of peaceful cooperation. Invitations were sent across many systems. Scholars, leaders, traders, and diplomats began preparing to travel. This gathering could become something historic, but the Ravener Collective also learned of this gathering. They believed it was a sign that humans were now building a powerful unity among worlds. Their leader spoke. "If the humans succeed, their influence will grow beyond measure. We must attend, not to join but to evaluate." And so the stage began to form. Friendly worlds, curious worlds, worried worlds, watching worlds. All would soon gather to speak about the meaning of kindness and gratitude. The galaxy was calm on the outside, but beneath the calm, a great turning point was approaching, because humans remembered every favor, and the galaxy was beginning to learn that gratitude could be as powerful as any starship fleet. The great gathering on GalacticPrime was set to begin. The event was called the Circle of Understanding, and it was unlike any meeting the galaxy had seen before. It was not a council of war, not a trade negotiation, and not a political summit. It was simply meant to help different worlds understand something about humans, the meaning of gratitude. On the day of the gathering, the silver plains of GalacticPrime reflected the soft morning light. Hundreds of colorful banners waved in the gentle wind. Scholars, diplomats, merchants, and travelers from many worlds arrived. Their ships floated like bright petals in the sky. Selene Arden stepped off her shuttle dressed in simple white cloth, symbolizing clarity and honesty. Beside her was Dr. Kyle Rivas and a small group of Erythran citizens. They were greeted with kindness and respect. Luro, Kale's Xeran friend, welcomed Selene warmly. "We are grateful you came," he said. Selene smiled. Gratitude moves both ways. Inside the grand hall where the gathering would take place, the walls shined like liquid glass, reflecting soft colors. In the center was a circular table so no one sat above another. Everyone was equal here. Slowly, representatives began to take their seats. From the gentle Varen, the same species as Thalos. From the peaceful Zerans. From human colonies across the outer rim. From various trader guilds and research academies. And last, entering quietly, were the Ravener Collective delegates. Their presence changed the air in the hall. The Ravener were tall with shimmering black and silver patterns on their skin. Their eyes were sharp and observing. They were not loud, but their silence felt heavy. They came not as friends, but as judges. Selene did not show fear. She had expected their arrival. The session began with calm introductions. Many spoke about how kindness had shaped alliances, how small favors had grown into strong friendships. Scholars shared stories, merchants shared memories, and travelers shared lessons from far-off corners of space. Then Selene stood and spoke. "When humans say we remember a favor, we do not mean we owe a debt," she explained. "We mean that kindness becomes part of who we are. It shapes our choices. It guides our hearts. It reminds us that we are not alone." Her voice was soft, but every word carried weight. She continued, "We do not return kindness to gain power. We return it because friendship is strength. Because unity protects everyone. Because a good action echoes forever." Many nodded. Some smiled. The hall felt warm with understanding, but not all agreed. A Ravener delegate rose. His name was Varen Kell, known for his sharp strategic mind. His expression was calm, but his tone held challenge. "You speak of kindness as a strength," Varen Kell said, "but strength that cannot be measured is a danger. Your gratitude can build alliances faster than treaties. That is power. And power that cannot be predicted leads to disorder. The hall fell silent. Celine met his gaze. Disorder comes from fear, not kindness. Varenkel replied, Fear comes when others do not know your limits. Tell us, Captain Arden, how far will your gratitude go? How far will you expand your influence? How many worlds must show kindness to gain your loyalty? Celine took a quiet breath. She answered with honesty. There is no limit to kindness, but there is also no obligation. We do not force bonds. We respond to real actions. Friendship cannot be controlled. Varenkel did not sit yet. His next words were direct. And if someone refuses your kindness, if someone does not wish to join your chain of gratitude, do humans then remember that as an insult? No, Celine said, steady and gentle. We remember kindness, not its absence. The hall relaxed slightly, but the Ravenar were not finished observing. The conversations continued for many hours. Different species shared perspectives. Some agreed with humans, some did not. But the gathering remained peaceful, until a message arrived. A young Xeran messenger ran into the hall holding a communication tablet. His voice shook. There is a situation on Pelora Moon. A misunderstanding has grown into conflict. A group of traitors believe humans are protecting the Peloran farmers only to gain influence. They think the humans want control over Pelora. Gasps filled the hall. Kale stood immediately. That is not true. Leon helped the farmers because they once helped him. No more, no less. But the messenger continued. A group of armed mercenaries is now involved, claiming the humans are building a hidden alliance network. They say the humans are manipulating worlds by repaying favors. Celine felt her heart tighten. This was exactly what she had feared. Kindness misunderstood could look like strategy. Friendship misunderstood could look like power. She spoke to the hall firmly. This is why we are gathered here. Gratitude is not a chain of control. It is a bond of respect. If misunderstandings are not solved, fear will turn into conflict. Varenkel listened carefully. His expression did not change, but something in his eyes shifted. He had not expected real chaos to appear so quickly. Celine turned to the council. We must go to Pelora, not with weapons, not with threats, but with clarity, with peaceful words. We must show that gratitude is not force. Kyle nodded. If we do not guide this moment, the meaning of our actions will be lost. Many representatives agreed to join the mission, not to fight, but to witness. Together, a fleet of peaceful ships departed Zerath Prime. They traveled across the stars to Pelora Moon, where green valleys and farming homes lay scattered across soft hills. When they arrived, the situation was tense. The Peloran farmers stood on one side along with Leon, the human engineer. On the other side were the mercenaries and traders who believed the humans meant to build power here. Celine stepped between the two sides calmly. Leon stepped forward first. I did not come here for gain, he said. I came because they once saved me when I was lost. They gave me shelter. It is a memory I cannot forget. One of the traders replied sharply, Then why bring others with you now? Why call allies? Why show such strength for a simple favor? Celine answered before Leon could speak. Because kindness does not measure size. If someone helps you when you are small, you help them when you are strong. That is fairness. That is balance, the mercenary leader frowned. But how do we know kindness will not be used to control? Celine raised her voice, not with anger, but steady resolve. Because control demands obedience, but gratitude asks for nothing. It is freely given, freely returned. Look at these farmers. They did not ask for help. Leon chose to help from his heart. That is all. Silence fell. The farmers stepped forward. The oldest among them spoke softly. We did not expect anything. We only gave shelter because it was right. Slowly, the words began to settle in the air. The misunderstanding was clearing. The tension faded like mist in sunlight. Even the mercenary leader lowered his weapon. Finally, the Ravenar delegate Varenkel, who had accompanied the fleet, spoke for the first time since their arrival. I see now. Gratitude is not a chain of power. It is a chain of memory, a remembrance of shared humanity, or shared life between species. Celine nodded. Yes, gratitude does not bind. It connects. Varenkel looked thoughtful. His earlier suspicion softened. The crisis ended peacefully, But as the fleets prepared to return to Zerath Prime, something remained clear. The galaxy was watching humanity closely. Some saw hope, some saw possibility, some still saw danger, and the balance between these views would shape the future. Because gratitude had now become a force, quiet, powerful, and growing. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was larger than any structure most humans had ever seen. Its ceiling was so high that clouds formed inside and soft lights floated like stars. Delegates from hundreds of worlds sat in curved rows. Some had fur, some had feathers, some had scales, and some were made of living crystal. They had all gathered because of one reason: humanity. The galaxy had changed, and everyone knew it. Captain Celine Arden stood with calm posture at the center of the hall. Her uniform was clean, simple, and without decoration. She carried no weapon, no badge of pride, no symbol of conquest. She stood only as a representative of her people. Beside her stood Dr. Kale Rivas, holding a small data tablet filled with names. Names of individuals, names of those who had once helped humans in some small forgotten moment. A shared meal, a shelter offered, a warning given. These names had shaped the future of the galaxy. Aliens whispered among themselves. Humans, remember every kindness. They bring entire fleets because of one small act. They repay gratitude with power beyond measure. They are frightening. They are honorable. The council chief, an old being from the world of aliens, stood and raised his voice. His voice was gentle, like wind through leaves. Captain Selene Arden, Dr. Kyle Rivas. The galaxy asks this today. Do humans intend peace, or do humans intend control? Your actions have changed alliances, borders, and the balance of power. We ask for explanation. Celine looked around the hall. She remembered each face, not by name but by sentiment. Some had once helped humans. Some had ignored them. Some had harmed them. But she did not show anger. She only spoke with steady clarity. Humans do not seek to rule, she began. We did not come to reshape the galaxy. We only remembered the past. When someone helped us, we honored it. When someone protected us, we returned that protection. When someone cared for us, we stood by them. Our only intention is to repay what was given. But your way of repayment causes chaos, said a delegate with silver eyes. You sent a fleet of 1,000 ships to defend a world simply because one person there once helped a human traveler. Kyle stepped forward. Yes, because one life saved is worth everything to us. Murmurs filled the chamber. Some understood. Some feared. Selena continued, her voice calm but powerful. When humans make a promise, we keep it. When we remember kindness, we return it, even if decades pass. We do not forget. It is our nature. It is our instinct. This may seem unpredictable to many of you, but to us it is simple. We honor every bond. A delegate from the Valoran species stood. His people had once traded openly with humans, giving aid without expecting anything in return. The humans had repaid them by sending knowledge, medicine, and protection. His voice was warm. I understand humanity, he said. Their gratitude is not chaos. It is loyalty. Many of our worlds have forgotten loyalty. We trade, we bargain, we calculate power. Humans act from emotion, yes, but that emotion creates trust. They are allies who stand firm. Another delegate rose. This one from a species that had once tried to exploit humans by pretending to show kindness, only to demand resources later. Humans had repaid that false kindness with distance and refusal to engage. He spoke sharply. But what of those who do not want to be part of human gratitude? Who do not wish to enter these emotional alliances? Kale nodded slowly. Then humans will not force it. We do not demand friendship. But we will not forget acts of harm, and we will not ignore acts of genuine good. A quiet tension filled the room. It was not a threat. It was simply truth. Celine then revealed something unexpected. However, she said, raising her hand, we have come today not only to explain, we have come to ask. This surprised everyone. Humans asking, not offering, not recalling old debts. We ask, Celine said, that the galaxy recognizes the power of kindness, that we honor compassion just as much as treaties, that every world teaches its children that even the smallest good act can change futures. Let this be our shared foundation. The hall was silent. No one had expected such a request. Not dominance, not repayment, not advantage, but a principle, Celine continued softly. We are different. You know this now. But our difference can be strength for all of us. If we build our future on kindness, loyalty, and memory, then we can prevent war, not through threats but through trust. Several delegates lowered their heads. Her words were not dramatic. They were sincere, and sincerity held more power than any ship or weapon. But one last voice spoke from the far end of the hall. An elder from the Lunaris species who had lived long centuries. "Humans," the elder said, "you are unpredictable because your hearts guide you. Many fear what the heart cannot control. But I believe we must learn from you. The galaxy has forgotten the value of small things, forgotten the impact of a shared drink, a shelter offered to a traveler, a hand given in a moment of need. You have reminded us." The elder stood tall and shining like moonlight. "I vote in favor of accepting humanity's principle into galactic law." One by one, voices answered, "I agree. We support. Let it be done. Unity through kindness." And so it happened. The council voted. Nearly every world agreed. The galaxy would honor acts of kindness as official bonds. Every favor remembered, every friendship valued, every alliance deeper than strategy. It was the beginning of a new age. After the council meeting, Celine and Kyle walked outside onto a vast balcony overlooking a planet of many suns. The wind was gentle. The sky was bright. Kyle exhaled slowly. "We really changed everything." Celine smiled softly. "Not by force, not by fear, just by remembering a promise," he nodded. "Our gratitude has shaped stars." Celine looked out at the galaxy spread before them, endless and full of promise. "We did not come to conquer," she whispered. "We came to return kindness," and across the galaxy people began to understand. One small kindness could move fleets. One remembered gesture could unite worlds. One grateful human could change history. Humans remembered every favor, and because of that, the galaxy would never be the same.